welcome to Just Crafting Around. My name is Kelly Brander and I am your host. The last program that we had, we were making a cross out of different kinds of painted wood. We used just some small pieces for this, some crafting wood. We also used some crafting wood, the smaller pieces here, and the chunkier pieces of wood that actually came from a pellet, a harder wood. We have two different kinds here that we used. I did take some, cut it down a little bit and put some fabric over the top of other pieces of wood here. We have a hot glue gun. We've got a little table saw here that will saw some of this here kind of craft sticks that we have. The craft sticks, again, come in two different sizes. They come in this size and this size. They're a little wider, a little taller. We're going to make all different kinds of shapes, all different kinds of colors. What we're kind of looking for is like a stained glass look, is what the look is that I'm trying to go for. What we did was I painted the different colors. I chose the chalk paint, the different colors that I really liked in it. Painted them, let them set over, or painted them, let them set for at least a couple hours. Then I came back, I saw the edges, not sawed, but I took some sandpaper and sand the edges really good. And then I took some dark walnut wood stain and went over the top of it because I wanted it to look aged. So we're doing something a little bit different with this one here. Then I went and took some trim wood. I did paint this in white. I did sand it down, and then again I took this wood stain, the dark walnut, and put it over the top of that. So what we did was, at the last show, I cut out the pieces, took them, and then I used hot glue and I glued those pieces on because I wanted to kind of frame this one out. Wanted to make this one different than this one. And as you can see, this is of course different, is taller than the other two. If you put too much of pallet wood on here, what it's going to do is it's going to make this cross really heavy. I don't like to put heavy things on the wall in my house, so I like it to be a little bit lighter. Once we're all done and we're all finished, what you can do with this, with the back of it, is you can either paint it, then seal it, because we're going to seal this as well when we're done with some sealant. You can paint the back of it or you can stain the back of it, whatever you like. Again, this is plywood, some thinner plywood. And we are going to get started. Got the hot glue gun in, have my little table saw here for crafting. Again, this only cuts the thinner pieces of wood that we have, the craft wood. It won't cut the thick pallet wood because that wood is really a hard wood. And as always, don't forget the coffee. Let's get started. I'm not going to have a rhyme or reason to what I'm going to do here. I want some pieces of wood to be smaller. I want some to be larger. I'm going to have some that I'm going to cut down the middle. I want some long. I want some really small. I want some, it's just going to be a variety. I'm not going to worry too much about color because when I chose the color, I chose the colors that I like. So I'm just going to get started here. And again, really no rhyme or reason. I am going to take off the rounded edges here though, because I'm not going to use those. And as you can see, wearing safety glasses is what you should be doing. I'm not going to worry too much. I want to get a straight line on here, and I'm not going to worry when I cut that I haven't stained this edge because it's going to be edged up against each other anyway. I'm going to take this down a little bit here. And I'm going to put it up against my board. And I want to see how big I want it. I do like this color. This is one of my more favorite colors. I'm just going to mark it with a pen so that I know, my pencil, so that I know kind of how big I want it. just going to add some hot glue now, and then we're going to glue the first one in and start from there. You don't have to use a lot of glue because this is actually very thin wood. In fact, you have to watch when you cut it that it doesn't break on you because it is such thin wood. Again, what I like about the hot glue versus any other glue, it doesn't take long for it to dry. Hold it in place a little bit. If you put a lot of paint on these and you paint them and you use a lot of paint, they will warp because it is a thinner piece of wood. So be a little bit careful when you are taking them and actually painting them so that it doesn't get so wet. Use light coats, and again, if you want to coat it more than once, hey, that is not an issue and it's not a problem. When you're using a saw like this, you should be wearing safety glasses. I should have mine on. So before you start a project like that, think about that a little bit and add some safety glasses. Now, as you can see, this piece of wood I've put in right up here, sawed it, hot glued it. I might go this way now, might go that way. We'll see what it looks like. Again, no rhyme or reason. If you want to start in the middle, you can definitely start in the middle. It's all what you want to do, what your desired outcome is that you want. Okay, did a small piece like this, just kind of a thin piece because I want different looks. I'm going to take it, put it in there, get it up against as good as I can. And again, no rhyme or reason for any of it, just putting it where I like, see where I like the colors. You can go up and down, you can go the length, you can go whatever, and here we've got two small pieces on there. And you can continue, you can go, and like I said, if you want this to look the same as this, that's not an issue either. You just take your piece, you line it up for how big you want it, you watch how you do the sides here. As for what I want to do, it's not going to be that big a deal. I'm just going to put them in wherever I want them. I have my colors kind of laid out and kind of put together, and I like to keep it that way, so when I look for a certain color, I have it, and I can just grab it from there. I like fall colors. My colors that I like are like the oranges, the yellows, the I do like the blues. I like grays, I like blues, I like browns. Kind of a fall color kind of a person. Again, just going to take off the rounded areas like this. If you were really skilled, what you could do is put a bunch of these rounded areas and then cut around them, but I'm not skilled enough to do that yet.
As the demand for advanced broadband and cloud-based services continues to grow, so does our commitment to you, our members. We are committed to providing you with the newest technologies and fastest broadband speeds available anywhere. Watch for the exciting details on faster speeds and new broadband packages coming soon.
Now I'm going to do a little measuring here. I'm going to kind of butt this one up against here, just to kind of get a remember when using a saw to stay far enough away from the blade as you can, because they are dangerous. Are dangerous objects. So safety first. And up. So far I'm liking this. I'm going to come back later with when we're all done with this, I'm going to come back and use a little piece of sandpaper and get some of the spots that are sticking up. And then I might come in and with a little bit of the stain, the wood stain, and kind of stain around things a little bit. Okay, now we got that one done. We'll put a different color in here, probably a little bit different length. I like that. Going to kind of measure here how long I'm going to do this piece. I'm going to kind of make it longer than the piece up on top, just to give it some kind of a little bit of differentness, I guess is the word I'm looking for. It's much easier to butt up against it when you don't have pieces of hot glue sticking out of it. I have scraped this several times, and each time I scrape it, I get more hot glue. Not quite sure how that works, but let's see here. And again, be careful when using the saw. Go, fits much better. Again, I'm going to use some hot glue, and with the hot glue I go around the edges, I don't go in the middle. Just go on the outside. Just wipe off wherever there is some. I'm going to save some of these strips that are like this. Don't throw any of the wood away until you are done, because you never know where you'd need a little strip like that. And never throw away anything that you've cut, because for the simple reason you could use it somewhere else. So now I just want just a squat strip. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut, doesn't matter where I put it, because it's just going to be a little squat strip. And shave off the back from the little pieces of wood, the little splinters that happen to pop up. Okay, now that I kind of decided what I'm going to do here, I'm going to use the piece that I actually put some fabric on. I'm going to give it a little bit of something different. Here we go. Show you when it's starting to take shape. Just continue on. Like I said, the project is more time consuming than it is anything. No rhyme or reason to anything, just throwing some colors together that I liked and going from there. Oop, we do have a smaller one here, a red. We're going to use a red here. Now again, we're going to measure what we're kind of looking for here. Don't always get the measurements quite right. Again, pieces of all different sizes, shapes, colors. And we're going to add that one in there. I can tell this one is going to hurt because it's going to burn, because that's why I don't like to use too small of pieces, because when you apply the hot glue, it gets to be painful. Because when they call it hot glue, they're not kidding. They are so not kidding. Okay, now I'm going to completely put one of these here. Probably come down and then piece in the rest. So I'm going to use one large piece here. I'm hoping this kind of lines up somewhat. And then we're just going to piece in. So let's take off the end. Take a look at it, set it up here. That looks pretty good. Okay. I need another piece of hot glue here. I wish these things would never run out of hot glue. I hate putting in those pieces because then you have to, there we go, spud it up against there. So now all we need to do is put a piece right in here. Or you could leave it blank if you wish, totally your call. I like the neutral color. What I think I'm going to put in here is the gold. I really like this gold. It's got some really pretty flecks of colors in it. Don't know if you can see it real good, but it's like a metallic. It's called metallic champagne. I really like that color. Very, very much so like that color. Trying to keep the colors together, like I said, so that when I go to look for one, I can see which one I've used, which one I haven't. Haven't used some of the blues yet. Haven't used the purple. That can be our next one. We're gonna go with this gold here. I usually like to lay it to the back and check it out. Let's see here how long we'll need it. And again, if you, because I don't always measure correctly, if you don't use it, be sure and save it, because you'll be able to use it somewhere else along the way. Little tight fit, just gonna have to take a little bit off. Probably be able to sand it off. It is just that little bit. A little bit more. A little piece like this, plus that kind of wood, we're able to take it down a little bit without having to run it through the saw. We're going to finish this side, and then there we go, fits in perfect. Fits just the way we want it to. It's a good idea not to wear your best clothes when you're doing this, because you will get full of sawdust. Just even this little bit that I've cut creates a lot of sawdust. Here you have it. That's how we are so far. It's looking pretty good.
Get 3 months free access on all lines, plus a new 4G smartphone for only $4.99 a month. 2 great offers with Valley Cellular. Call Valley today at 437-2615 to take advantage of this great deal.
We have one last piece to put on our cross. We're going to take a look at it and see if there's anything that I'm going to need to do a little bit differently. Got all of our pieces on here now. Be sure that you save enough time to do something like this. It is very time consuming to make this, especially if you're going to go with the different sizes and different textures and different stuff like that. Here's the cross, here's the finished product. I do like it. I like that it's outlined. I don't think I'm going to paint this a different color. I think I'm just going to leave it the way it is. I do like it. So we now have 3 of them. We have this one, that's a little bit different, the bigger one, and then we have this one. Now if I'd want to, I could come in here and I could take a little bit more off of these if I wanted to with some sandpaper. I could sand it a little bit more. I could take some, because when you cut them you get little chunks and stuff that come off and it reveals the actual color of the wood underneath. Now I could sand a little bit and take some wood stain and stuff after it, so I'm going to take a look at it and see if I like it, and if I do I'm just going to let it as is. If not, like I said, I can just sand them down a little bit and then take the wood stain back after it. I'm going to check to make sure that I don't have any hot glue that's stuck on here that hasn't come off yet, so I'm going to scrape the insides a little bit. Check it, going to paint the back of it, and we're going to call this one good. If you are crafting and you would like to be on Just Crafting Around, you can call the office at 437-2615 and ask for Lisa and Kelly. Again, thank you for tuning in to our show, and we'll see you again next week. Thank you.